the Data Hub. It's a fantastic module that's been added to FM22. However, it can also be a bit daunting for some people. On today's show, I'm going to explain certain features of the Data Hub. I'm also going to look at some of the definitions that I use. They may not be what we expect, and that can sometimes send people off on the wrong tangent when they start looking at the Data Hub. So today, we are here to simplify things. My name is Daljit. Welcome to the show. Welcome to the channel. This is the place where you'll find me doing content on the game Football Manager. I also stream 3 times a week, Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. On Tuesdays, you can join me over on Twitch where we do a public draft. You're more than welcome to join us as we, have some fun along the way. Yes, the Data Hub. Sometimes when you're playing the game of Football Manager, you see a lot of statistics in the game. The Data Hub helps to consolidate all this information so that we can understand our tactical systems a bit more effectively. We need to understand 2 metrics in the game first, because as I define them in a specific way, we can't let our personal bias enter this, because this is how SI defines them. So definitely when we go into the data, we have to understand that definition in order to understand the information. In Football Manager, we've got key passes. A key pass is any pass by a player that allows his teammate to have an attempt on goal. So you will find crosses falling into this, you'll find passes falling into this. So if a player brings the ball out wide and he plays a pass to somebody and it's a cross and he lands on the head of somebody and he can take a header at goal, that's considered a key pass. If a player plays a short pass off a corner, right, and the player who receives the pass then proceeds to do a cross, it lands on the head of somebody who can make an attempt on goal, that's also counted as a key pass. So it's really important to understand that key passes can incorporate passes and crosses. In the game of Football Manager, there's no point getting frustrated by the terminology because we're going to have to play by SI's rules. A key pass can also count as an assist. You can go to the analytical data you get from a match, look for key passes and watch a highlight. Here Mo Salah gets a chance to play the pass over to Fabinho, who strikes it home. That's an assist, but it's also counted as a key pass. So a key pass is basically a goal scoring chance that you created for somebody on your team. Crosses, on the other hand, well, in the game of Football Manager, they don't all travel through the air. Cutbacks also count as crosses. Here Mo Salah receives a little cross from Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain. It's a cutback, and that counts as a cross in the game. So if you're playing with a lot of low crosses in the final third, there's a strong possibility you're also going to see a lot of cutbacks, and sometimes your crossing numbers could be a bit inflated. Well, how does this help us? Well, for one thing, during the course of a match, knowing where your key passes and your crosses are coming from, this can only help you fine-tune your tactic. So while I'm playing this game, I actually have a skin that's tracking my players. I use that kind of information during the course of a game to tweak my system. So I'm expecting my team to develop lots of key pass combinations. The team is supposed to move up the pitch as a unit, and I'm expecting to see my wingers generate loads of key passes with cutbacks and crosses, looking for players who can score goals. For the first 3 games of the season, we're not going to get a data hub. So I'm depending on match reports like this to give me a very good indication of where we are in terms of our tactical system. Before the Data Hub gets active, you start seeing short maps in your match report. Now, once the Data Hub is up and running, the short map is actually one of the most important pieces of information in the Data Hub that I turn to. In a nutshell, the short map tells you whether your tactic is producing good quality goals. As the season progresses, there will be more information that comes out from the Data Hub, but this is always going to be my starting point. I'm not just looking at the XG. XG is nice to know, but if you have an inflated shot count like we have in this particular case, then your average shot quality is just as important. As you can see here, we had 26 attempts and goal, and more of these attempts were with the head. This is not a good sign. I need to improve the average shot quality of my team by perhaps lowering my tempo. This is the first clue you're going to get that, well, you might need to tweak your system. So even before the Data Hub is up and running, We've got Lorenzo Insigne here with 13 key passes in this friendly. It tells us that he was principally the chief creator, and he could have come from corners, he could have come from free kicks, he could have come from cutbacks, he could have come from crosses. The only way we're going to find out more information is if we go into the analytical data for the player concerned. You absolutely need to find out where those key passes are coming from. You need to get to know your player really well to find out whether these are goal scoring opportunities that come from open play or from set pieces. If you master the art of distinguishing the two, your tactical systems over time are going to get better. Because as we all know, we're going to score lots of goals from set pieces. We just want a few more from open play. You absolutely need to understand your own tactical system to make full use of the data hub. The data hub is not going to tell you how to make a better tactical system. It's just going to point out certain little things you should know about your system. The next piece of information I like to check are zone maps, because zone maps are fantastic. They tell you in a nutshell where your tackles are happening, where you win the second ball, and where you start your attacks from. What better information do I need? The very first piece of information that's going to be critical to understanding your system is understanding whether your defensive line and your line of engagement are doing their job. Here, my defensive line and my line of engagement are doing the job of winning the ball in the defensive third near the halfway line. It tells me that most of my challenges are further away from my penalty area. Now, 33% of our defensive actions are happening in the penalty area. This is not a very nice number. I want it to drop to 30%. It could be due to a lot of reasons. Maybe we're defending extraordinarily in one of our last few games, or there could be a lot of corners. There could have been a lot of free kicks in this zone that my players need to tackle. Well, that's fine. As long as I have the bigger number here near the halfway line, I'm actually kind of happy with this number. The first piece of information tells me where our challenges are happening. The second, a zone map, is possession gain. Essentially, where did he win the ball? And this tells me that most of my stuff is happening at the halfway line. So it's about 67% if you take the whole number together, which basically tells me I'm playing near the halfway line or in the opponent's third. It's a big number here that we've gained a possession in this zone. Now, why is this zone so critical in football? This is the transition zone. They try to move the ball through this zone and you see fullbacks getting into more attacking positions. Teams are trying to build their attacks here. This is the point of failure for tactics as well. If you can force a team to lose a ball in transition, it's usually going to have its fullbacks committed to the attack, leaving pockets of space that your team can exploit. Now that we know where we gain possession, then we come to the nutcracker. Where do we create all our chances? Most of my chances or most of my passes are being attempted at the halfway line or after the halfway line. And this is what this information is telling us. We have got 55%, almost 68% of our passes are being attempted at the halfway line or in the opponent's third. So if you're making an attacking tactic and you want to go camping in the opponent's half and you're expecting to move a team around, this is information that you absolutely need to check first. It's the most important information and it gives you a really good feel of how your whole tactic is doing. Here in my tactic, I've got one of my players, he's a fullback who dribbles quite a lot and he bombs down the flank and sometimes he loses the ball in possession. He tends to lose the ball about 10 or 11 times during the course of a game. So with that particular player, I have many options. I can either elect to give him a play instruction that tells him to dribble less. I could change his role to something different. Or I could look at my formation and elect to play a player closer to him, offering him support so that he can pass the ball instead of just losing it in possession. What if your tactic is not creating any chances? Now, this is where the data hub is going to may not help you very much. If your tactic is not creating chances, your data hub is just going to say it's not creating any chances. It's not going to tell you how to fix it. So you've got to basically understand your own tactic to know whether it's capable of creating chances. You're looking at key pass combinations, link up plays, moving up the pitch. You're going to see most of your players involved in transitions if it's a camping tactic. If it's a defensive tactic, then you're looking at one or two players playing key passes, longer balls out to players who putting them into positions to score goals. That's what you're looking for. So you have to understand your own tactic first. When I created this 4-3-1-2, I knew exactly where my goals were going to come from. They want to come down the flanks. I've got fullbacks bombing down the flanks. I've got a playmaker in the center. He's probably going to lose the ball half the time, but most of my chances are going to come from players who are supporting those wingbacks. So as the wingbacks go down the flanks, I've got two players playing in the half spaces that are occasionally going to cross the ball. And I've also got one decent set piece taker in Tom Carroll. So I'm expecting him to take the majority of our set pieces. So looking at this tactic, I'm expecting Carroll to have good key passes. I'm looking at Harper to create good key passes. I'm also looking at the wingbacks to generate good key passes. If they can't generate good key passes, if they can't generate a lot of good key passes, then perhaps my players aren't good enough versus the opposition that they are playing against. Before the data hub becomes active, we can tell if a player is generating key passes just by having the right kind of panels in our in-between match highlights. Then once the data hub is available, I can always choose go to the player analytics, find midfielders, add assisting midfielders, and you can see that in our team, Raheem Harper is generally producing around 4 key passes a game with 0.8, 0.9 for an assist. That's crazy. This is good numbers for Raheem Harper, who's playing as a Mazala. But Tom Carroll, who's taking the majority of our set pieces, he does corners, he does free kicks. I'm expecting his number to be a bit bloated, but he's creating almost an assist a game. In future videos, I plan to dive a bit more deeper into the data hub, where I even use the data hub to help me scout. I use the data hub to tell me which PIs I should be giving to my players, and those videos will be coming out soon. Well, I hope you enjoyed today's video and you found it useful. If there are any other areas of the data hub you need help on, please let me know in the comments below. Please stay safe, stay healthy. I hope to see you again soon. Bye-bye.